it was a very critical look of governance, challenges of governance, center staging it as our critical issue to be looked at because it is an impediment to our ambition of creating the Africa that we want. The biggest component of that is really getting the challenge of governance right.
You're talking about governance. We see a conflict in Sudan, in South Sudan, in the DRC, and when you look at the reasons, it has to do with governance. The panel of the wise has just returned from South Sudan. Any indication what has led to these challenges in South Sudan?
No, it's a failure of governance. There's no doubt about that. It is a failure of where various factions have not been brought together, that they have not created the appropriate national institutions and make them representative and have a continuous system of dialogue of what their challenges are. And therefore, gradually, it started collapsing, and I think it's reached a point where really it's sad. It's sad, South Sudan. This is Africa's newest country, and we thought that maybe they would have gained from the experience of the other countries that had been on that we have created through independence, through fighting and everything, and really try to avoid some of those pitfalls. Unfortunately, it did not happen. It didn't happen, and I hope that they would come back to common sense, that they will come out to the spirit of preserving their nation for which they fought so hard, and therefore engage themselves in dialogue to promote better governance so that they will attain the type of developmental goals that they've set for their country.
Let's look at Sudan. That conflict, no resolution to that conflict. If people say the AU has failed people of Sudan, what will be your response?
First, let me tell you, the Sudan issue breaks our heart. Every meaningful African who's interested in the future of this country would feel bad about what's happening in Sudan. This is Africa's first independent country. 1st of January 1956 is when they did. And the potential contribution of Sudan, not only in terms of moving their country, but Sudan has the biggest land mass that could be used to feed this continent, Sudan. So it is very sad. But again, it was a failure of governance. First, they have had, over 20 years of military rule. That government fell apart, but it still continued to give a particular role because they still had a military leader. They had somebody who came in from outside and who really I worked with for over 10 years. We worked together in the Economic Commission for Africa. They went there. He was really rebuilding that country. He was putting in those elements that are necessary if you really want to build an inclusive state, a participatory state, very clear focus of what do I want to do. But again, you had the military. You had the military, and then you had the paramilitary. First they removed him, the civilian prime minister, and then they started going at each other straight. It is sad that the military feel that they should run countries in Africa. They have no place in. They are there to protect us. No, but nobody the countries are not being invaded. So why are we spending so much resources in building up these armies who then turn back and create problems like in Sudan? And Sudan, it's sad what's happening in Sudan. It's wanton destruction of the country. So how we going to put it together, I really don't know. But it's not, the AU did not fail. I don't think the AU failed. I think missions went there. The APRM did have a preliminary mission just to show what are the apparent indications that there could be trouble in Sudan and so on. there is a fine line between national sovereignty and what we can do from the continental level. And I think Sudan was so bad, that connection failed. That connection failed. The Sudanese factions took over, they killed each other, they attacked each other, and they're purely destroying the country. And then, of course, there's the neighborhood that supported some of the different factions, supported them, armed them, and so on. And it's very sad what's happened in Sudan.
Let's look at West Africa, the Sahel region. You have these countries that have been suspended from the AU. It has been some time now. Do we continue with this situation? When is the AU going to bring back these countries, that process to assist them to hold elections, and they are part of Africa?
No, that also is another sad story. It's a sad story in the sense that these three countries were members of ECOWAS. You know the ECOWAS, which is okay. And this is the best performing regional grouping. They have freedom of movement, they're trading amongst themselves. And then you have these three governments that felt that they had major security problems and that this institution was not able to really mobilize collective support to deal with that was their challenge. And they started withdrawing from it, which I think is a mistake. I think they should have stayed there. But we will not let that happen. First, you reach a point of anger where you move out, and eventually you reflect, and you really feel maybe this should not happen, and this reflection is being aided by ECOWAS itself, saying, you've gone out, but we feel that you are part of this. The new president of Senegal has even appointed a special envoy to go around and start a dialogue with them. And other institutions are there also that are trying. AU itself, I think, would love to engage them. So this engagement would, initial stage where they had their concerns, where they were angry, where there was an attempt to invade them, So all those things contributed to this impasse. But now that we've gone beyond that, I think the dialogue with them have started. The newly elected president of Ghana, President Mahama, was there. Burkina Faso is a neighbor of Ghana. So he was in there, he spoke to them, but it's not a solution that will come overnight. It's a question of engagement and continuous dialogue and telling them the importance of ECOWAS and their own contribution and what they need. And then the difficulties they would have also in running their countries. It's not easy being on your own. So collectively coming together would make more sense in the Sahel region. I think it will happen. I think they would collectively look at the security challenge and other benefits. Listen, we've just adopted an African free trade. We are supposed to trade together. If you don't have these frameworks that bind us together, it is difficult for us to attain our development goals.
DRC, also a huge problem. SADC and EAC trying to handle that country in terms of assisting that country to be at peace. But it looks like it's very difficult.
Yeah, but don't be a pessimist. These challenges, they need many initiatives. DRC, Angola tried, DRC itself is having discussions among the various factions and so on. I think it will come together. For the first time, DRC has agreed that they will talk to M23, which is a great move, because they have grievances. And and if you have grievances and they start fighting and you also want to fight with them, it will continue. There's goodwill in the sub-region, the East African community and others, even SADC, because they are both members they have accused Rwanda of providing subtle support this has been denied by Rwanda. I don't want to go into that, but I'm saying Rwanda, DRC, they are all members of